If you're anything like me, a millennial-coded late bloomer, watching Radio Rebel should feel like watching an old cringy biopic of your life in the 2010s, but it's more like... Hey, what's up? Welcome, one and all, new and returning. If any of you saw my Insatiable video, then consider this a continuation of the Debby Ryan Chronicles. The process of writing, filming, editing, and posting that whole video gave me the idea to tune into Radio Rebel, a 2012 Disney Channel original movie starring Debby Ryan, and some might even consider her magnum opus. With that oh-so-famous gif of her bashfully tucking her hair behind her ear that holds status as peak 2010s meme culture. I can't help but feel like I missed a very important moment in pop culture history having not watched the full-length movie. Granted, I was in high school at the time when this came out and I had grown out of my Disney Channel phase. And I am just such a sucker for cult classics, so of course, I'm gonna see what Radio Rebel has in store for me, even if it is made to amuse an audience of 12-year-olds. Translation: no standards or discernment of quality. That's the formula of all Disney Channel / Nickelodeon originals, because they're all made for kids. And kids, for the most part, don't care about how good a show or movie is as long as there's enough cliche character tropes that are easy to follow along with and have a good dose of fart humor. Or just gas humor in general. And they're only entertaining for adults if it's an old nostalgia watch from childhood, or it's a parent feeding off the enjoyment their kid is having from watching it. Anyways, I know it sounds like I'm digging to China about something that is not that deep, because Radio Rebel is not that. But that is something I had in mind before sitting down to watch this. I knew that the material was not going to be serving to someone of my age range, and that I was probably going to be in for something that was Velveeta tier cheesy with underwhelming acting performances. So almost immediately upon the first minute or two of watching this movie, it's giving a Cinderella story with the highly adored anonymous mystery person storyline. If you perchance are unfamiliar with the Cinderella story with Hilary Duff, the movie's spitting up in this motherfucking joint. The movie's protagonist and equivalent to Cinderella, Sam, is in an online chat room flirtationship with a fellow anonymous user and only know each other by their usernames, which in present day in 2026 is the premise for a Netflix true crime documentary. But in 2004, a creative entry point for a budding romance where two people can fall in love with each other's minds instead of their looks. Sorry, I just felt like making you uncomfortable with the ASMR moment. Without the superficial, trivial teenage things like popularity, social status, and opinions from peer groups standing in the way. Like Romeo and Juliet, who, anyhow, the guy Sam is chatting with on her Nokia flip phone is actually the most popular guy in school, Austin Ames, the school football team quarterback from a wealthy, highly privileged background, who in public is keeping up this persona and outer appearance of that cool guy, with his cheer captain, self-absorbed, mean girl girlfriend, and douchey, misogynistic bros. While in private, he's this deep, sensitive, wannabe poet who only feels truly seen by Sam and is the only person he feels he can be his real self with. The anonymous budding lovers, after talking to each other for a long time and getting to know each other, he suggests the two of them meet in person and reveal their true identities at the school's Halloween dance. However, Sam is hesitant to come forward because of her own reputation at school for being the smart girl and the only one at school who works a real job. And Austin's circle of friends, with their ignorance about where money not provided by rich daddies comes from, derogatorily refers to her as Diner Girl. I know this video is about Radio Rebel, and I won't spend too much time talking about a Cinderella story. But Radio Rebel's whole concealed identity mystery plotline reminded me of that movie. And I feel like that plotline may be in some other teen movies from the 2000s, early 2010s, but I can't remember what they are. If you do, leave the title in the comment section, if they exist. I'm sure they do. I'm past the age of 30, so the brain farts are one big, never-ending loop. Now, the main character, Tara, is someone I think many people see themselves in at that age, which is not shocking. But what is shocking is how she kept her Radio Rebel alter ego so under the radar, she didn't even tell her best friend, or that her parents never even caught on to it. Like, her best friend is the person she's most comfortable comfortable with, and the only person she actually says more than 2 words to before the first crack in her shell. Like, why would she be so ashamed about her Radio Rebel identity that she keeps it from the one person she knows won't judge her? I mean, I say this because I feel like in the movies, the best friend always knows the protagonist's secret in the beginning. I just think it's weird that the best friend wasn't in on it at the start of the movie. It makes the position of the best friend look very weak character-wise. And I'm speaking about this from a writing standpoint, not a real-life behavioral standpoint. Just to be clear, it's like I myself was this kind of socially awkward and shy from preschool to maybe like later in middle school. I really didn't start coming out of my shell until like probably about 8th grade. I felt more comfortable putting out my real, unapologetic freak-ass self out there. So I'm not clueless about shyness or how it feels to be socially awkward. I mean, I never grew out of the socially awkward part. I just don't care how other people perceive it anymore, because people understand things and people through their own personal biases, and they're gonna project on you no matter what. So why bother trying to appease and please, right? I'm done rambling about me, my life story, and the philosophical musings, and we're back to Radio Rebel now. As for her parents, or rather her mom and stepdad, did they not at least get curious at one point? Like walking by her bedroom or hearing noises coming from her room upstairs and think, the fuck is homegirl up to? Like if she's that quiet all the time, and all of a sudden they're hearing loud vocal projections that sound like they're coming from her, and they hear the same things said by Radio Rebel as they're listening to the podcast. I mean, Disney parents always have a way of being uninvolved and oblivious, but it's the fact that both her mom and stepdad listen to Radio Rebel. It's not really so much they didn't catch on at all before that she was Radio Rebel in particular, but the lack of a hunch that she was doing something under the radar at all, like having a secret podcast or online show. And the way she was so fucking quick to reveal herself as Radio Rebel to her stepfather, of all people, and not her actual parent or her best friend that she should trust with such a secret. I'm just saying, girl's got some weird ass priorities. I mean, the guy's a radio producer, the worst possible person you could reveal this kind of secret to, unless a very small part of her wanted him to know. It's like me trying to communicate my feelings clearly.
I'm finding it. It take you that long to find it? It does.
The beanie's bringing back all the feels of 2011, 2012. That was one of my main wardrobe staples in my late high school, early college years. Except mine was black, probably like my chakra was at the time. Allegedly, it's yellow now, if you can believe it. Of course you believe it, it's right here. But I noticed something throughout the movie. Tara's go-to hat of choice is clearly a falling off the head beanie, but she switches to a black fedora when she's displaying more extroverted behavior, like speaking through a megaphone in the school courtyard, or calling Miss Mean Girl wannabe Morph Queen as Radio Rebel to prove that she's not Tara at the party. So it seems like she switches into a fedora whenever she's feeling a boost in confidence. Am I the only one who noticed that? Was that done on purpose by the film's costume crew? Or am I just meaning making in places that really don't need meaning making? Either way, that's just my Tara headdress theory. But if we're gonna Tara talk her character, it's an absolute exaggeration of shy or awkward teenagers. In real life, these kind of high-strung, socially fearful teenagers don't go around looking as fashionably put together, and they're not practically nonverbal like her. I don't know if I'm making sense with what I'm saying, but basically Tara looks like someone who could fit in if she tried. There's nothing about her that indicates social inclusion by her peers is not accessible to her. I know that sounds like a very surface level way to think, and that it sounds like I'm judging based on appearance, but that's the mentality and lens that teenagers operate and think from and judge others by. So I think Tara's overblown shtick of "don't look at me, I'm shy" was the writer and director's overcompensation for Debby Ryan's natural good looks and charisma. Like they were trying way too hard to prove her character's social pariahhood, so they had to have her do things like not speak when she was spoken to. Okay, girl, you got a weak ass battery life, girl. So they had her character do things like not speak when spoken to, or just stare out into space in response with her mouth gaping open, or sheepishly step outside the classroom when the teacher calls on her. Now, of fucking course, shyness and social awkwardness doesn't judge one by appearance, and anyone can be plagued with it in real life no matter what you look like. because we all have personal history, we all have stories, we're all multifaceted, yada yada yada. But this is a movie character we're talking about, and fictional people in visual media do have to look a certain way or be able to step into a vibe that is completely different from the actors themselves in order to be believable and invoke empathy and a willingness to relate in viewers. But I'm just saying that Tara could have generated stronger audience empathy if she had an outer shield that communicated the following message to the outside world: I'm just an average girl with average interests. There's nothing interesting about me. That doesn't spark curiosity in others. And not this girl who clearly knows how to dress in current fashion trends, flat irons her hair into oblivion, and knows how to do a basic makeup routine, and that if she tried to be more socially open, she would be welcomed with open arms by pretty much any clique she wanted to be a part of. There is a mismatch that becomes very glaring when you get a young, pretty Hollywood starlet to portray a high school outcast with conviction. And I think that's probably a big contributing factor to people calling her character cringe and weird. I just could not. Absolutely could not. With her lack of words whenever the guy in the band talked to her. Real shy and social awkward teenagers when approached by their crush. If they don't try to leave the space, that is. Just don't look them in the eye and just give one-word responses and just fidget with their clothes or hair. They don't go mute and stare at them blankly like they're trying their hand, or rather in this case their brain, at telepathic messaging. Like, honey bunches of oats, I know you're nervous, but say something! Snort if you have to. I don't know, maybe she's just eternally emotionally constipated, as we saw from that shout from the rooftops, which really wasn't even a shout at all.
I'm afraid to show people the real me.
I'd call that the farthest thing from cathartic. I think there was more attention she could have released on that rooftop. What would have been helpful though for the audience to understand Tara's social fears better and empathize with her more would have been the inclusion of a backstory, like they did with the meanie meanhead girl. Like, why did they not show us where this lack of confidence in Tara comes from? Why extend that graciousness to the enemy and not the protagonist? If you're a writer watching this and you have time on your hands, I challenge you to write a backstory for Tara and post it on Wattpad. If I had the time, I'd do it myself, but that's something I have to unpack with my therapist and not here with you. The guy in the band / the love interest, I'm confused. Why did they make his character the band's bass player, not the lead singer? It would have made a bigger impact for both Tara and the audience had he been the band's lead singer, because he'd be the most centralized figure of the group. He'd be on top in the band hierarchy, and when those in any hierarchy secretly resents where they've led their people, it makes for a more investing character arc. He is what people are talking about when they say that a guy is written by a woman. The guy who can reject the mean, pretty popular girl who dedicates her free time thirsting after him, for a girl who's more compatible and aligned with his worldview, even if they don't seem to match on paper, and values integrity and honesty more than popularity and image. Translation: a guy that never has and never will exist. What else is new? His character was just, it was bland, kind of meh, such a cliche. There's nothing really interesting about him besides the fact he plays guitar. And if you were a teenager in 2012, that was the bare minimum standard for initial attraction to a guy. Like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck it is about a guy in a guitar that makes the ladies want to lift their shirts and scream like banshees. Like, the dude could be the most mediocre looking mofo, and the moment he picks up a guitar, all of a sudden he's a chick magnet for girls who wouldn't look his way otherwise without the guitar. Like, ladies, get better standards, for fuck's sake. Y'all's pick me is showing. Come meet me in the bathroom and we'll fix it right up for you. But I did like the song he sang at the end. You can't deny he's a very talented dude. But I would have rooted for him a lot more if he had some sort of niche hobby or interest that made him unique and would threaten his cool guy image on a superficial level. Now let's talk about this mean girl character. I fucking forget her name, so we'll just call her sparkly, flowery 5-year-old headband head. Because literally, those are the kind of headbands I've only seen little 5-year-old girls wear. Her fashion statements are truly aligned with her mental and social development, wouldn't you say? I really don't think she deserved the Catty Heron moment Tara gave her at the end, passing down the Morp Queen title to her because she felt bad for her. Like, girl, fuck that bitch. She locked you in a closet and tried to get your secret out. Personally, I think the advice people give about you being the bigger person is overrated. Anyway, all that was just to say it really irked my nerves when I saw Tara letting sparkly, flowery what I call that bitch, sparkly, flowery, 5-year-old headband head have her moment to shine when she spent the entirety of the film's duration trying to take away hers. I just wanted to shake Tara awake and give her the speech that I just gave you, the viewer, about fuck being the bigger person. Like, rub that shit in her face. Show her who the real deserving Morp queen is. You little meek mouse of a girl. If you think I'm just being a raging witch with no forgiveness in my heart, then you right. I am. I can forgive, but I rarely do. I just let the universe punish those who've done me wrong with their appropriate karma. That's how I attain my peace, and that's how I get my revenge. But anyway, I could not help but guffaw and giggle when she told Tara and Guitar Guy to feel real pain in their Romeo and Juliet scene. Like, what do you know about real romantic pain? You can have any guy you want, so shut your white skinny ass up. Now, the principal in this movie I find to be very sus. Because first of all, why does she listen to Radio Rebel with a face like she doesn't know whether or not she wants to cry or shit herself? Her absolute obsession with a 16-year-old podcaster is just downright weird. But I do have a theory as to why. I'm inclined to think this lady's got a chip on her shoulder from her own high school days. Like, she probably had her own local high school radio show way back in the day that probably didn't get as popular or well received as Radio Rebel's podcast. Now she's projecting her jealousy outward and wants to expel Radio Rebel because no one else can be the main character of the school but her. I think my favorite character of this whole movie is Tara's mom. She is so funny. She had me ugly monkey laughing with every scene she was in. Like, what is she on? I mean, like, she is a whole mood. But why is she so jumpy and tweaking anytime she's on screen? And if she's on something to help her out with that, can I have what she's having? I'm sure the main takeaway message of this movie for the audience, since it's targeted toward teens, is that cliche basic message of be yourself, don't be afraid to stand out, or whatever else your guidance counselors in school tried to instill in you growing up. But watching this for the first time as an adult, I think it aimed to communicate something else that might be harder for an adolescent mind to receive and integrate. I mean, at least my adolescent self. And my peers at the time in the early 2010s probably wouldn't have grasped. I don't know about you or your culture or what your maturity level was at that age, so I can't speak for you. When Tara as Radio Rebel gets so much anger directed at her for inadvertently getting the prom canceled for the revolt for the students to have their phones and iPods to listen to whatever they want to listen to at lunch, that got that creepy stalker principal lady get her panties so far up in a wad that she canceled the prom. Tara has a natural reaction of feeling like she had let everyone down and that it was a personal failure of hers for doing so. But me being the grown-up I am, or at least I try to be, before your very eyes, that there's an old saying that goes, you damned if you do and damned if you don't, which is just a fancy way of saying no one will ever be happy with all the decisions you make, so why bother trying to get the approval of others when their happiness is never 100% guaranteed, even with people who actually like you. People's hatred or disdain of you is only a reflection of their own self-loathing, and they're the same type of people who think nothing is their fault and refuse to own feelings of disappointment or take personal accountability. I mean, for a fact, it wasn't Tara's fault their prom got canceled, but her Radio Rebel alter ego got the heat for it because they didn't want to gang up on the principal for some reason. But it seems like they eventually learned the valuable lesson in teamwork and fight the real enemy at the end with the I'm Radio Rebel, I'm Radio Rebel, no, I'm Radio Rebel, no tribal chants that weakened constipated crying principal face into submission and cower off the stage in embarrassment that she just got owned by a bunch of kids. Overall, this movie is like some one big hour-long meme making light of the shy, socially awkward American high school experience. Not just Debby Ryan tucking her hair behind her ear like she's one of Snow White's 7 dwarves. Like, there's truth to what's being presented and told, but in a style that's overblown and exaggerated for theatrical entertainment. But what about you? Did you watch Radio Rebel when it first came out many moons ago? Is it a comfort nostalgia watch for you? What do you notice about it now as an adult that you didn't think about as a kid? Anything you want to info dump about it in the comment section about Radio Rebel, feel free to type it out. Otherwise, thank you so much for your viewership. Be sure to let me know you want more nostalgia watching by giving this video a big thumbs up. And if you and I are vibing, or you're really feeling my style of commentary, be sure to join my emotional support coven by becoming a subscriber when you hit that rainbow highlighted button beneath the video and tapping it like this. Bing! And to be considered next in line for the Coven's Supreme, make sure you have all the channel notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on the opportunity to receive first flex status with every new video. Stay cool, stay fresh, and I'll see you next time.